Hey everybody, good morning. It's late morning. It's a little after 11 on Tuesday, March 19th. I just wanted to do a little update and preface it with this is mostly for me to be able to uh reference back to because a very sad thing happened a week ago today. Oh my god, actually almost exactly a week ago. Um Last Tuesday, March 12th, our dog Waffles was hit by, we're pretty sure, an 18-wheeler. Um, Around sometime between 11:38 a.m. and 11:47. So almost to the hour. And um, basically, a few very interesting things happened, and to me, I take them as signs that like she was supposed to go. It was her time. Of course, that's could just be me being a human and rationalizing to make myself feel better. But the day started. She got to take her morning walk and her morning car ride with Gramps. I always refer to him as Gramps, David's dad. Um, for Waffles, he was Gramps. I'd be like, "Hey, Gramps is home," and she'd always get excited. But she got to do all that stuff, and that morning when they came back from their morning ride, um, I was in the kitchen making my breakfast, and they walked up the back porch and I saw them out the back window and I called her in. Let me switch arms real quick. I called Waffles in because I wanted to see her, and I gave her a really, really big hug. I looked her in the eyes, and it was just kind of interesting because for some reason I felt like I needed to look at her, like look her in the eyes and just be like, "You're so good. I love you so much." Like I was just talking to her. And it was just different. I don't know why, but I just remember thinking that like I need to give her a really good hug. And that is the last time I saw Waffles. Sorry. I want to get through this without crying. Um and then when I went to leave for work that day, um David's dad, he asked if I had seen her and I was like, "No." But it was pretty normal for her to be in one of the like the utility room or storage room or something, laying down and or outside by herself, which I'll come back to that later. But I didn't think anything of it because it was kind of normal for him to be like, "Hey, where's have you seen Waffles?" And then he'd go find her. So I go off to work and I get back that night, and um I just don't think about it until bedtime. Like literally I was drifting off to sleep. It was 11 something at night. I was drifting off to sleep, and something just like, I don't even know what crossed my mind. Something happened. I go, "David, have you seen Waffles?" And he was like, "Well, I think she's with my dad because she usually sleeps in his dad's room." And I said, "Well, before I left today, your dad asked if I'd seen Waffles, and then I haven't seen her all evening since we got home." And his dad had been in his room. I hadn't seen his dad all evening either because his dad had been in his room and had told David, "I don't feel good. I started feeling bad around noon." And he thought he was getting sick. So he literally had just been in his room watching TV and then went to bed. So David goes and looks to see if Waffles is in there, and she's not. And I told him, I was like, "This isn't normal. Like she doesn't just disappear. She doesn't just leave." Um, One other time she's disappeared, and it was David doesn't know who did it or what happened, but she got picked up by someone, and she ended up like 45 minutes away, and he found her like days later because he was scouring like lost and found Facebook pages or groups. That's the only time she's ever not come home or been gone a long time. So we're immediately like thinking this isn't good. And then I remembered I said, oh my God, earlier today, I had all the windows, all the blinds in our bedroom open. And um, I was standing in the middle of the room, and I heard an 18-wheeler honk as it passed our house. And sometimes people will honk if they're from David's work and like they know us. So I looked out the window. It wasn't an 18-wheeler from his job. And I remember thinking, oh no, I hope there's not an animal in the road. And that was, I can't even remember, I didn't look at the clock. But I remember having that thought and seeing that 18-wheeler in front of our house. So what we did is we have security cameras, and we went and started looking to see when was the last time we see Waffles on those cameras. And at 11:37ish that morning, she is like she's in our front area of our house, and she's walking towards the front gate, and then she stops for probably 10 to 20 seconds and just is looking, towards the road, because she knows she's not supposed to go out there. David did like thorough training with her when he got her, and only one time that he can remember has she ever been out in the road. He came home one day and she was in the road in front of our house. Other than that, he can't remember a time that she's like been out there. She's been really good about obeying and following the rules. Well, on that video, she stops and she's staring. And then at 11:38, she just slowly walks up the driveway and out that gate. And that's the last time we saw her. And I just remember watching that video and just being, as she walked up the driveway and out the gate, I was like, she's gone. Like, we didn't know where she was at that point, but I was like, that's it. That's the last of Waffles. And so we got our flashlights, and, by this time it's like 12 hours after that video. And we're out looking for her, and David found her. On the side of the road, right by our neighbor's trash. Because Tuesday was trash day. And it had already come by the time she went out there. But I'm sure there was something on the ground or some smell over there that she was very interested in, and that's what lured her out there. And that was her thing. That trash, like for us, we would always spray any sort of bones from any meals we had. We would spray them down with Lysol because to try and deter her from getting into the trash. That was the one thing that Waffles didn't, it was hard to control her when it came to trash. She would get into it quite a bit, and that's what took her. And I just feel so bad that David had to see her like that. He wouldn't let me look, and I didn't want to look. And he said, I was on one side of the road and he was on the other side, and I remember I was looking towards his flashlight, and then his flashlight just turned off. And I just knew. I was like, he found her. And I saw the flashlight go off, and I was like, what is it? He's like, you can go home now. And I said, is she there? And he said, she's here. You need to go home. And so I walked home, and he came home, and he got the tractor, and he dug a deep hole for her, and then he went and got her. And the reason we are pretty sure it wasn't 18-wheeler is because he wouldn't describe to me anything, but he said it was really bad. And it was very apparent she did not suffer. He said from the time that there was impact to the time she ended up where she was on the side of the road, she was gone. There was just no way she suffered. Which was the only solace. But it's hard. I'm sorry if I haven't been looking at the camera, so if you've just been looking at my mouth or chin, I'm sorry. This is just, like I said, this is documentation for myself. Waffles was like one of the best dogs. Like, if you're an animal person, you know how wonderful dogs are. And she was just one of the best dogs I ever had. And David got her in 2017. I didn't meet her till 2020, but man, she was just such a good dog. Just so sweet. And so, just every moment that you saw her, she was just like, it was like she was always just saying, thank you. Thank you for loving me. Because he got her from the SPCA. She came from most likely some abusive home, because when he got her, she was very, very afraid of the broom and different things that they would pick up. When they would pick stuff up, she would react and be scared. So they worked with her through that. So they're pretty sure that she had a pretty good cut on her ear, like at some point she had cut her ear pretty bad. But they think that she was probably like between 7 and 9 years old when she passed. So she wasn't old, but she was getting older, you know. She wasn't like a super old girl, but she was getting gray around her muzzle. And yeah, so we buried her. And the things that I wanted to document more than anything is that, that feeling that I had that morning of just feeling like I needed to really look her in the eye and just tell her that I loved her and hug her. And then hearing the 18-wheeler, seeing that 18-wheeler. And the reason we know she died between those 9 minutes, 11:38 and 11:47, is because David is a dispatcher for a trucking company, and he was like, the next day he realized that 2 of his trucks went down this road in front of our house around between 11 and 12 p.m. that day. And his thought was, oh my God, I hope it wasn't one of my guys who hit her. Just like, how terrible would that be? So he went back, all those trucks have cameras on them, and he went back and checked the cameras, and there was one guy who passed at 11:47, and you could see Waffles already deceased on the side of the road. So pretty much immediately, when she walked out that gate, almost immediately she died. And I just keep going, and I know it doesn't matter, she's gone and it's done, but I just keep going, like, why was she in the road? If she was sorry, I'm back here on the back of the property. I feel like I see something back there. If she was getting in the trash was on the side of the road. Why was she in the road enough to freaking get hit, But you just never know. We'll never know. A few more interesting things that happened, when I got to work that day. I pull out of our driveway. I have no idea. She's one driveway down. It's probably like not even 75 yards from our driveway. She's down there just alone and gone, It just makes me sick knowing she was out there. But just thankfully she wasn't suffering. But when I got to work that day, my coworker had our shop door propped open, and I was doing some stuff, cleaning some stuff and facing the door, and the door just kind of went and then just shut, like a real quick little open and shut. And no one had come inside. And I remember thinking, oh, that's so cute. That's kind of like, I know I'm kind of an odd person, but the thought that ran across my mind was, oh, it's like a little animal, pushed the door open and came in. Like, that's what crossed my mind. Pardon me. I apologize for the sniffing. And just knowing that, like, little Waffles was already gone then, and then I had that thought, is just so odd to me. Then, the week before she passed away, David's dad, he knows I'm into a lot of spiritual stuff, and he asked me if I could interpret a dream for him, and I'm like, I don't do that, but like, what was your dream? And he said that he had a dream he was dancing with a dog. And that was just when Waffles passed away. The next day, I remembered him talking about that dream, and I was like, how odd. Then he also, that same time that he was telling me about the dream, he said that he had been waking up between 3 and 4 a.m. for like a week. And he said that he even asked his pastor about it. And his pastor said, well, someone's trying to give you a message. Something's going on. That hour is when, if you look up 3 to 4 a.m., like it's a very significant hour of the night. And David's dad told us that a few times that has happened in his life, that someone that he loves passed away. And he told us that night. And then he had the dog dream. So I think God or little Waffles spirit, like she was just trying to tell him, like, hey, it's coming. It's coming. That's why I think she was supposed to go for some reason. She was supposed to go, and we'll see why. I hope we'll know why eventually. And then on Sunday, this past Sunday, we were out here, and I'll show you a video of like the area that we buried her. On Sunday, we prettied it up, and David chiseled her name in the tree that she's buried near. And then he and I go into town to go get dinner and go get some do some shopping. His dad's here alone, and not even like 15-20 minutes after we leave, this dog just shows up. Random dog none of us has ever seen, and it just hangs out with David's dad for an hour. Just hangs out with him like it's lived here its whole life. And the reason we know is because David's dad told us, and he said, you need to go look back at the cameras and see this dog. And we're pretty sure it's the neighbor across the street, their dog, because it's a Great Pyrenees, and they're, livestock dogs, and they have sheep over there. So we're pretty sure it's their dog, but it was just so, like, his dad, Waffles was his buddy. She did everything with him. They did everything together. And he said multiple times since she's passed that he just feels he misses her, and he's like, I don't know what to do with myself. Like, he's retired, so she would always go on walks with him. They'd always hang out together. Like, that was his buddy. And I think that dog just coming over to spend a little time with him was like a little present from God, just for him to be like, it's okay, And here, I'll show y'all this little spot. So this is the area that we have for Waffles. I don't think I can turn this around, but I'll turn it around just with my hand. But this is where we have her buried. And I buried her with her little Tranquility essential oil roller that I would give her. I'd roll it on her little head whenever the thunderstorms came, because she was super afraid of storms. And for some reason, that it was lavender essential oil, and I just put it right here. And it seemed to help her. And so I asked David to please put it in there with her. So this is her little spot. Got some fake flowers right there for the time being on the bench. That's this light, the little flower right here, right there, is solar. So it comes on at night. Then I got this little bird feeder here, and you can't see it because it's full of birdseed, but it says you're beautiful. I wanted that so that some birds will come join her. And then I put one of my hummingbird feeders here. The hummers haven't shown up yet, but I expect them soon. It's chilly again, so I think probably within a few weeks they'll start showing up, because somehow they just knew that it was going to get cold again. And then it's going to be backwards, I think, on the camera, but oh well. On the tree here, we put David chiseled her name in here so that it's always there. We just don't want to forget her. We want to remember her very well. And like I said, man, she was like the best. Apart from our boxer buddy, Waffles has been the best dog I've ever known. Otis, our pug, was a very close third. Maybe he was tied for third. Um, but Waffles was just so good. She was such a good girl. And we just want to remember her. And I found one of her paw prints out here on this, is on that dirt over there. And I got it with a shovel. It's inside right now. And I'm going to do plaster of Paris on it this week and then make a little shadow box for her. I don't know why, but he didn't keep her collar. And I'm guessing it may have been covered in stuff that he didn't want to keep. But because when I asked about it, he said, no, I did not keep her collar. He sounded very serious. So that's what I assume. But he did keep her tag that has her little name on it. It's a little heart. It says Waffles. So that'll go in the shadow box too. So that's all. I just wanted to share about our sweet Waffles. And animals are important. They're all throughout the Bible. They're all throughout different religions. They're very important. And I believe that they have souls. So I just wanted to share about her and kind of honor her. And I know this video has been ridiculously long. If you watched it all, I appreciate it. If not, that's okay. It's just for me. It's for us to be able to look back on and remember the moments um, leading up to her passing. Yeah. Thank you.